Hey y'all, well it is another beautiful day here in North Carolina, 1st of February, and it feels so glorious. I just love the sun. So it is pretty amazing that we were just covered in snow a week ago. But I want to work today on our backyard because it has been severely neglected, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are in the same boat that I am in. So let me show you guys what it looks like and what we're going to be doing today. So I'm not really sure about how much time we're going to have to work, but you see we have all of these pots over here, and then all of our grasses need to be cut back. Our nepeta needs to be cut back. Our Shasta daisies need to be cleaned up. And you can see we have dog toys all in the yard because Winnie has not been picking up after herself. But the grasses have been so beautiful this winter, but we're already starting to see some green. So I want to go ahead and get those cut back. And then all this general cleanup over here needs to be done. We just got our roses done. So we are just going to be working on this backyard and getting everything nice and pretty for the spring. First place I want to start on is our lamb's ear, just getting the old leaves taken off and getting that nice and cleaned up. Okay, so I got all the lamb's ear cut back, so let me show you how it looks. So this is our new lamb's ear that I just transplanted in the fall. So these were nice and easy to cut back, those three there. This one here is not the Helen von Stein, it's a different one. And it was really, really thick and just full of dead leaves in there. And so I just went ahead and chopped it all back. So I don't know what will happen with it, but I'm not really as fond of that one as I am this one because I like the Helen von Stein because it has the larger leaves on it. So we got all those cut back. And here's another trio that we transplanted in the fall. They're doing good. And then I just have these two right here. I think there was a third one that it may have died. So they're doing good. And then over here in the sunshine, we have these two here. And then we have this little trio here. So this one here, when I started getting into the middle of it, it had a lot of snails. So I think this is what's kind of happened to it. So I need to put some diatomaceous earth around that one to see if we can kind of clean up that snail problem that we're having. But these are doing good, and we've got a little lizards, little lizards that live in there, so they love living in the lamb's ear. So the next thing I think we're going to do is to take care of these grasses that we have here. And then over here, I have a lantana. Let me get out of the sun. So we have a white lantana there, and we have a yellow lantana here. And my daughter, Savannah, she bought these. We're not sure if they're perennial for us. So I'm just going to chop them back, kind of like what my dad does with his lantana. And they may not come back though, but we're just going to go ahead and get those trimmed back. We have a little gara that I want to get cleaned up as well. And that little grass right there. So just a few more little things here on this border. So this is a type of blue stem grass. I'm really not sure how well it's going to do because I feel like it turned brown super, super early in the fall. So I don't know if it's dead or not. So I'm going to cut it back and we'll just see if it doesn't come back in the spring, then we'll know that it died in the fall. But kind of wanted to see what it's going to do because it's kind of hard to tell with everything being dormant right now. But we did have a lot of rain after I planted it. So I don't know if it was one of the ones that got the root rot, but we'll give it a chance and see what it does. And it doesn't hurt anything sitting here in the garden if it is dead. So that was super easy. So last year I took you guys on a little trip with me to Georgia to my parents' farm, and we showed you guys all the 200-acre farm. My dad drove us around on his ATV, but he has a lot of lantana and they're perennial for him, and he has been adding to his collection. So he started off with the multicolored and then the yellow, and now he's been adding white and red. So they're really pretty. So this summer, when I go down there, I'll make sure to update you guys on his new lantana that he's been planting. So my dad just cuts his back like this, and there's lots more snails around here. And they come back for him. These may not come back for us, but we'll see. We'll give them a chance. We were able to have perennial lantana when we were in Chesapeake, Virginia. This is tough. Ah! Almost need my big loppers. Okay. That is all done. Actually has a nice fragrance. It smells kind of spicy. So some people's Gara doesn't come back for them, but this one so far is looking really good. And it has a lot of green growth underneath, and it has pretty red stems. So we'll get all this cut down. This is already a new little stem here, but I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it back so they'll all be kind of the same height. So that one was super easy to do. And then I'm just going to collect all these little weeds around here while I'm down here. Oh, seeing more snails. We're going to have to get on top of these snails. We may have to put the chickens here in the garden and let them kind of peck around a little bit. Hey, that one looks great. See how good that Gara looks? That looks really pretty, especially to be covered in snow for like 5 days. Looks really good. This blue stem grass I got last year when my husband was going to college, and I always go with him when he has his seminars and go to the garden centers while he's in class. So I bought this from a really beautiful garden center outside of Wake Forest, North Carolina. So I actually took you guys with me, and it was almost like right when I was getting ready to leave, I saw this grass with these pretty stems on it. It was so pretty. So we'll see if this one comes back. That actually looks a little bit more lively than the other one. So we'll see what they do. Next thing I want to work on, I have 2 of these Senorita Rosalitas Cleome on this row over here and one down here that I bought at Dwayne's Garden Center last year. Now, I used to have Cleome when we lived in Georgia, but it was the old-timey Cleome that would come back year after year. But I'm kind of wondering, because I was digging around at the roots down there, there was still a lot of green. So I'm going to do just like I did with the lantana. I'm just going to kind of cut it back and see what it does. It doesn't hurt anything to let it sit here. So we'll see if we can get it to come back for us this year. But it may be a loss, but it may be something good. So let's give it a try. This one was one of the ones that fell over when we had our hurricane last year, and I was able to just cut it back and lift it back up. These stems are super tough and they feel very hollow. But when I was digging around here, the roots felt very pliable, and I actually see a little bit of green in that one, so I'm not sure. And I may end up having to come back in here with loppers and cut the really big one, because it is tough. It feels like a tree. Little ones just kind of snap off. Okay, so that one is done. So this is a little begonia, and it is pretty much gone. You can leave the roots in there and let them kind of rot and decompose. The little snapdragons left over from last year. I'm going to clip those back. So these are some little snapdragons from last year that I grew in the winter sowing method, and they were really, really pretty. And they kind of self-seeded, and some of them have just kind of stayed around. I'm going to kind of clip them back a little bit. And I'm good if their seeds scatter on the ground. Fine with that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to tackle is the Vermillionaire. This is the one that has the little orange flowers on it. Some people call it a cigar plant. And if you want hummingbirds, plant a Vermillionaire, because I never had hummingbirds until I planted this plant. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one trimmed back. It is a perennial in some areas, but I'm thinking it's going to be an annual in our zone. So I don't mind leaving the roots in the ground if it doesn't come back. I feel like it's more of a no-till garden method. Woo! This thing got big. Woo! Okay. So here's the Vermillionaire. Let's see what it says. Mounded, medium, 18 to 28 inches. Annual except for zones 8A through 11B. So, hey, might come back. Now we have this Rebecca here, and you can see it's got like little seed heads all over it. So we need to get that cleaned up and get this lamb's ear cleaned up. So if you wanted to save these little seed heads, you could just clip them off and save them. I already have a Ziploc bag full of these in the house, so I don't need to save any of these. But we may get some scattered on the ground, so they may end up coming up by themselves. Let's cut back. This was from our fall arrangement 20 and 2023. Yes, not 24, but 23. So this was one of the plants that was in there. So it was really pretty. It looked really pretty next to the Vermillionaire, because they both have those autumn tones in them. See a little green's already coming out. This root had wrapped itself around the other root. Put that back a little bit. And I gave my dad a clipping off of this one because it had had a baby. So when he was up at Thanksgiving, so he has one of these at his house now too. That one is kind of squishy. So I didn't want to cut very good. Okay, that is cut back. And we're going to just tackle this humongous Helen von Stein lamb's ear. I might get my little snips back out to do this. When when the leaves are extra squishy, you can actually just kind of go in and pull, and they just kind of snap off in your hand, which is nice. I definitely want to get all the ones from the bottom. They are all just brown, nasty looking. Okay, y'all, so we are making some good progress, but I want to go inside really quick because I have a pot of chili on. I want to make sure I keep that stirred so it doesn't burn on the bottom. So let's go inside for just a minute. Looking so much better and cleaner. Okay. It's going to be delicious. Okay, so this is one of our snapdragons from last year that I'm going to trim back. And then we've got this lamb's ear and this Gara over here and this iris. And then we'll be all finished up. So here is the German bearded iris called Precious Little Pink. And this was so pretty. It actually bloomed all season long. It says it blooms late spring to early summer, but ours bloomed up until the fall. One of the other things I thought was neat, it says fertilize regularly and provide slightly acidic soil. So we don't have acidic soil here, so this will let me know to go ahead and fertilize it with the acidic fertilizer. It is zones 3 through 10, and it was absolutely gorgeous this year. So for these bigger ones, ugh, they're kind of squishy. Just use my little snips. My Felcos really need to be sharpened after I did the rose pruning. They got kind of dull. Come on, come on. You better come and get it. You better come and get it. Oh my goodness, Wing Wing. Y'all, look how much we did. Now, some of this was from the other day from the roses, but that is our huge pile of everything we cleaned out of the garden. So everything looks so good. It feels so light. I still have to bring a little rake and clean up the rest of that. But I think everything is looking so nice. So now we can get in here and put down some fresh mulch, and it will be all ready for our spring. So we are going to have to tackle this other side another day because our sun is starting to go down. Thank you guys so much for joining me today and working in the garden. I had so much fun. The weather is absolutely beautiful and it just does something to my soul. So I hope you have a great day and I hope you have a chance to get in your gardens today. Bye, friends.